Vegetation analysis is one of the most important aspects of image analysis. One of the most widely used method for this is NDVI. NDVI stands for Normalized Difference Vegetation Index. It uses the contrast between near-infrared light, which healthy leaves reflect strongly, and red light, which plants absorb for photosynthesis. The resulting index ranges from low to high values that correspond to vegetation condition. Low values suggest bare soil, built surfaces, or stressed plants. Values in the middle often represent sparse cover. High values usually appear where leaves are dense and active. This quantitative measure lets us track canopy vigor, seasonal shifts, or recovery after disturbance. Now let's see how we can perform an NDVI analysis. Again, to like again to do any imagery analysis, you should go to imagery and then go to raster functions. Then here you should just search for NDVI, or if you don't search for it, it's pretty straightforward. It's always here. There are two types of NDVI. In this video, I'll cover this one. This is a single band dataset created from our 4-band dataset. This will be a scientific dataset, so it will vary from -1 to it will range from -1 to +1, whereas -1 is no vegetation at all, and 1 is a very dense vegetation level, highest level of density. So let's click on this, and here I want to show the raster layer that I'm going to use, in this case, which is clip mosaic raster. So let's select that. For this, the visible band ID is 3 for this one. This is downloaded from City of Lubbock, but if you download from any other sources, read through what is the visible band ID. You can also do it like this. You can go for right click and properties, and then you can go to source, and here you will find band metadata. So here I don't have much, but usually if you download from Landsat imagery or anything like that, you will have the band metadata written. But I have read through the band information, and here visible band ID is 3 and infrared band ID is 4. So now I can start to create a new layer, but before I do that, if I don't click on scientific output, it will create some random values which I don't want. I want my values to range from -1 to +1. So let's click on this and then create a new layer. So that creates this. Here you can see it ranges from -0.48 to 0.728. So this is my lowest value that I have. This is my highest value. Now I'll try to reclassify this into a specific order, and I'll show you how to do that. So right click on this and go for symbology. Here I have stretch, but I don't want stretch. I want to classify. It tries to load, and then it creates the default version, which is natural breaks, and here you have a very specific value type and also a default color scheme. I don't want this. Let's say I want it to be from red to green, and now I'll see where there are no vegetation, those are green, and where there are vegetation, those are red. But say I want this to be opposite. I want no vegetation to be red. I want more vegetation to be green. So let's click on this and then do a reverse symbol order, because that makes way more sense. And now vegetations are green. So here you can see the highest level of vegetation is green like this, and also the no vegetation, which is this water right here, is absolute red. Now that's one way to visualize this, but I can also start to quantify this. So in order to quantify this, I can right click and then I can go to create chart, and then I can try to go for histogram. So here I have no histogram right now because I want to select a variable. Let's select the variable, and because I only have one band, let's select the band 1. And now I will have a basic histogram. So here I can turn on median. Median will be the most type of color band that's there, and that will give me a band over here. So I can see 0.23 is the most amount of types that these pixels have. So a 0.23 kind of falls under wet soil, moist clay, saturated mud, and shadowed terrain. So these are not too much of a vegetation, so you can tell that this site might have a lack of vegetation. And if you are trying to create a more naturalistic site, you will try to plant for, you'll try to do a better planting design than the existing. That's one way to inform your design through data. If you want to export this histogram, you can click on export, and then you can export as a graphic, you can export as a table, or capture to clipboard. Let's export it as a graphic, and let's export it as an SVG, and that would save a high resolution vector graphic. Let's open it up, and here you can see you have that SVG. You can drag and drop it in any possible software that you might want to. Here you can see on the x-axis there's the values from -1 to +1. Because we don't have a -1, it starts from the lowest that it has, which is -0.55, and ends at 0.1 because we do have some larger trees. But you can see our median is over here, which is this. And you can drag and drop it into either Photoshop, you can drag and drop it into Illustrator for creation of a better storytelling. And these are the pixel counts. So we had very high resolution imagery, and here you can see somewhere within 16,000 thousandths you have our median. So yeah, that's how you can export histogram from your NDVI analysis. Now I have this is great, but I might want to do a lot more with this. These numbers, they can be classified into a specific order so that they make more sense. I think this table might be helpful. So here you can see I have created a class which kind of shows different ranges of NDVI data and what they should mean. So here I have -1 to -0.1. This should be water or deep shadow. And then -0.1 to 0. These are dark built or wet soil, which consist of asphalt, dark roofs, saturated soil, barn surfaces. Then I have bare ground, bright built, which are dry soil, sand, concrete, bright roofs. Then I have sparse vegetation, then I have moderate vegetation, and then I have very dense vegetation. So let's try to recreate this into ArcGIS. Now I'll try to reclassify my table, symbology table, according to the table that I just showed you. So here I'll turn my class numbers to 8 because that's the number that I have. And then instead of natural breaks, I'll turn it into manual interval. And then I'll start to write. So I'll speed this part up. So now I have completed my table with different values that I wanted to create manually from my table, and I have also changed the labels. Now you can see the color order has reversed, so you can go to more and reverse symbol order. That way it would make a little more sense. So now you can see the map represents our table. Wherever there are dense vegetation, the color is green. And I believe this needs to be a little more greener than it's right now. So let's make it even greener. And this can be a little lighter, just a little. Maybe this. So now we have a nice color gradient going on. So there you go. There you have your nice NDVI with a proper symbology. Now if you print it and use legends, you'll see these tables. So I'll try to print it out and show it in the end of this video, and I'll also speed this part up. So there you can see I have a nice uh, legend going on. And this is essentially how you do an NDVI analysis and print it out. So that's all about NDVI.